Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Shamir Shah Project. This week the episode's slightly different. Obviously you can see that I'm not in my normal environment for my videos, which is in nature and the wilderness. But the reason for that is just because I wanted to discuss what's been going on in my life the last few months and how I actually remedy and repair emotional, physical, and mental health. For me, this year began with a super high and came following that with a crashing low. And I know everybody experiences challenges and emotional or physical challenges in different ways, but mine seems to coincide with Men's Mental Health Week, and I thought I should express some feelings and explain to you what I've gone through in the last 4 months, I would say. The high being that I was invited to BBC Radio to speak live on the show, and the following high was being voted as a finalist as an Inspiring Person of the Year by the National Outdoor Industry Expo. And just as the momentum was building following the two pretty prestigious accolades, the perfect storm of the low immediately came. And it was not because of what was about to happen, but what actually happened as we were looking to enjoy ourselves. So the journey began with me assisting my parents on a flight to London for a holiday, and because of COVID-19 and lockdowns, and as they're pretty elderly, they had knocked their confidence pretty badly, completely, if anything. And so it all started with a family reunion in London. My brother's family flew back to London. They've been here several times, but the entire family, including the grandkids, flew to London. My parents were going to be here, and obviously my family was going to be here. And a few days into the reunion, the 2-week reunion, unfortunate turn had to take place, which was my mother falling down the stairs a few days into our reunion. So it was very unfortunate and not well timed, but you know, things do happen. So the past 4 months have been nothing short of an emotional and physical roller coaster for my wife and myself. Caring for my parents, as my mother had broken her femoral neck bone and was left immobilized. My father depends on my mother quite a bit for his needs, so we had to pick up the pieces there. We have an autistic child who experiences regular seizures, and to top it off, we have a blind diabetic dog, which the entire experience, putting all those bits together, pushed us to our limits. Something we would have never imagined would blow our minds when it came to actually keeping our mental and physical and emotional health in check whilst helping other people. And not just other people, but loved ones. So that's something I wanted to talk about, because I know different people go through different things in their life. Every individual's different, their circumstances are different, every family is different. But it impacted me pretty badly. Fatigued, absolutely knackered, as they say, and emotionally drained. So the days began very, very early and ended very late during these 4 months, and they were filled with constant care and attention for our loved ones. I would say my wife and I averaged about 4 to 4.5 hours of sleep daily, which is not enough, as you know. But, you know, we keep going. And so for the first 20 days, the hospital became our second home. Each morning, I would rise before dawn. We would prepare breakfast tailored to specific dietary needs, send my son off to special needs school, and then I would head to the hospital, which was about an hour away, with my mum's favorite snacks and favorite dishes, including some of my dad's, because he would accompany me to the hospital. So the days were very long, and they were filled with all kinds of things, medical consultations, treatments, which gathered a lot of emotional strain on the people we cared for and on us. And each evening I would return absolutely exhausted and drained, but to keep going, obviously, you have to keep going at times where you are stretched the most. It just shows your strength and fortitude of what you've been brought up with or developed over time, and you just have to try your best. The hospital routine was pretty grueling, and it was pretty tiring, but it was absolutely necessary for my mum post-operation. After the hospital, the journey continued on to a rehabilitation center, where my mum was transferred for another 2 weeks. The transition was pretty challenging for her and challenging for us as well, but because we saw good progress happening, it was something that was necessary. The rehab center was quite demanding. We had to go through various challenges of therapies and exercise, and how often the exercises took place and when they took place and where they took place. It was scary at times because she was having to go up and down stairs as part of the rehab, and because the femur is a very delicate area, the pain lasts a long time and it's quite intense. And for my mom being elderly, it wasn't easy. But at the end of the day, we became their cheerleaders for both my mom and dad. My wife and I became the cheerleaders. We encouraged them, we supported them, and talked with them through every small victory, and had some in-depth emotional conversations as well, which I'm grateful for, but also shone a light on life and everything around us and the fragility of it. So I'm not stretching it when I'm saying the emotional toll was immense, and the last 4 months I have been pretty drained and pretty fatigued, and it was something we had to stay on top of because we couldn't afford to let the emotional toll falter in any way. We had to just keep going, and I had to keep doing what I had to do and just do it. At the same time, that was happening on the outside, and what was happening on the inside in the home was just as complicated, if anything. Life at home has always been demanding. My son requires round-the-clock care, and our blind diabetic dog requires meticulous care and attention too. He's sleeping right now, right across from me, enjoying himself. But we had to manage my dog's regular insulin shots, monitor his diet, and ensure that he was safe and loved in every way possible. Despite his disability and lack of our time, we had to make sure we were giving him everything. That included daily walks as well. And, time was a huge factor in the last few months, which my wife or I didn't have any of. And that really takes it out of you. So, balancing my son's and the dog's needs with those people we cared for made it really complex. It was a huge complexity added to our daily routine, and I would go as far as saying complexity beyond my imagination. I never thought things would get that tough or be that difficult to go through every minute, every hour, every day. The other thing was cooking 3 different meals 3 times a day was a task in its own right. Each meal was specific to dietary needs of the family. Meal planning and preparation became a daily challenge, requiring a lot of creativity, a lot of good energy, and obviously considering everyone in the family is well nourished and healthy and eating well throughout the day in the last 4 months. It definitely helped that both my wife and I are pretty confident cooks, and we were able to cater for everyone in the family to be happy and well fed and nourished along this journey. Despite the exhaustion, there was moments of absolute profound connection and love between all of us, but especially between my wife and I, as we leaned on each other, and it helped us strengthen our partnership even more. The experience brought us closer together, revealing, depths of resilience and compassion we didn't even know we possessed, which was a pretty amazing learning. Sure, we had many in-depth talks, analyzing various situations, predicaments, solutions moving forward, and how we could help my parents further, how we could help ourselves further, what we've learned from this whole process. But, we overcame the challenge, including anything that was unexpected, pretty swiftly, simply because we managed to keep in check our strengths, our positives, where our negatives were and how we could better them. But even plenty of unexpected things that were thrown at me, I managed to get through them. And I would say I've learned a lot from that. And in these 4 months, just discovering the meaning of dedication and sacrifice, hardship, it was just a moment of growth and transformation for us. Yes, it was draining. Yes, it was very emotional. Yes, our mental health was affected. I was knee deep in it at times in the middle of the night, with feelings and emotions. But you transform yourself. You come out of it. Hopefully, I have come out of it as a better person, but as a stronger person, if anything. Just realizing the fragility of life and the importance of caring for those you love, the lengths you need to go to is pretty amazing. We are pretty strong people as a human race. We are able to take on quite a bit. We're able to pick up once we've fallen. We're able to deliver a pretty swift recovery when you're hurt. But the whole emotional roller coaster of the last 4 months was undeniably exhausting for me. but it just reinforces the bonds that hold us together, really. So after 4 months, I assisted my parents back home, which was 6,500 miles away, about 6,500 miles, to settle them into their house and make sure they're okay, simply because that's where their hearts were moving forward, and they've always wanted to be independent. And so I couldn't force them into staying here. They wanted to do what they wanted to do. So once we got fit to fly letter from the doctors, they approved her to be able to fly, and I flew my parents back. And during this time away, and I was only away about a week, my son had another brutal episode of seizures, and my wife was left to deal with it on her own, causing further emotional damage to both of us. For me, her being on her own, for her having to deal with the situation. It just simply caused further turmoil, and definitely leaving my wife a bit more traumatized in the process. It's no fun dealing with violent seizures on your own, definitely not. So that's the long and short of the story, pretty lengthy, but I just wanted to explain to you what's been going on in my life the last 4 months. You may have seen me on social media, out and about, on videos in various places, but there's a reason I continued to find time and space and days to actually go out and look after myself. So I do want you to know this, that I am a committed humanitarian, and I support humanitarian causes, and I'm always one to put other people forward first. And here's what I've realized really is, in times of grueling challenges, what doesn't break you makes you stronger. And in life, I know nothing is permanent. We all know this. But sometimes you see those protective cushions of life quickly becoming hurtful concrete slabs. And for me, that is tough to digest. Things like that can happen, but you only realize this as you progress in your journey. True, honest, true strength is forged in adversity, I find, transforming little obstacles which turn into huge obstacles into stepping stones. Integrity and helpfulness are not at all public performances. Yes, it's always nice to share the goodwill or the Samaritan side of you, that you've done this, or you've helped someone with this, or you've helped this charity, or you've helped these people, but it's not public performances that really create this strength within people. It's actually the idea that cultivates what happens in quiet, unseen moments behind closed doors. That is the true value in this whole thing. So as far as I go, genuine character for me was built through private acts of kindness, I guess, and commitment. Yes, it is my family I'm talking about. Yes, it is my parents I'm talking about. But it's not easy when you're already deep into a daily tough routine, especially with my son and my dog, but mostly with my son. So these hidden efforts, I find, shape our strength and define who we are, and my character, proving that absolute goodness and integrity that has come through this starts behind closed doors, away from the public eye. And there is one strong and very powerful way I've managed to stay mentally fit and keep my well-being in check, and that is through nature and the wilderness. So I'm looping back to what has helped me repair and remedy myself, and I think it's going to be a very long process of repairing myself after the last 4 months, but I can easily say that being in nature, going outdoors, and spending time within beautiful spaces, creating great meals, or hiking through fantastic trails, or sitting up on a mountaintop, finding mindful moments there, all adds to the repair and remedy of the character and within me. Because without that, I feel I would be in a much worse state than I am in. Without that, I feel I would be lost. I would be pretty damaging to the people around me, and probably most damaging to myself. Nature's been my sanctuary and a source of strength through all difficulties, through anything that I find has been overwhelming and challenging, where I can't decipher what's right and what's wrong. I go into nature, clears my mind, opens myself up to relaxation, mindfulness, just a better physical, mental well-being state, taking in the sunshine and just dissecting the situation and creatively putting it back together, whereby I find it's an amazing mind-altering solution, really. So what I would say to anybody who's going through mental health issues, who is suffering from physical well-being issues, or just not finding the rhythm or the groove or the heart to say something to people, or to overcome a challenge, is to go out into nature, go out into the wilderness, live your life through nature. It's our bodies and our minds' operating system, because without nature we wouldn't exist. Urban areas wouldn't exist, cities wouldn't exist, our streets, our neighborhoods wouldn't exist without nature. So nature is the be-all and end-all of finding mind-altering solutions to a lot of things. It's one way I found it. It's one way it's helped my mental health. It's one way it's helped my physical health. It's one way of what has actually helped me overcome the last 4 months. Although I spent very little time in nature, to be fair, it has helped me tremendously. And I encourage anybody, men, women, children, families, whoever, if you are going through turmoil, through trauma, through any kind of crazy challenge in your life, find nature, go spend some time in it, relax, review yourself, just be one with nature, and you will see the difference it makes to your life. You just have to remember one thing, that nature is a complete game changer from the mind, the body, and the soul. But it's only a game changer if you allow the power of nature into your life. Well, that's all, folks. I just thought I needed to get something off my shoulder, and the only way I could do it was either through writing it or videoing myself speaking it, because there's not many people I've spoken to about what's happened to me in the last 4 months. Anyway, it's a different video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got to the end of the video and you're not a subscriber, please go ahead and subscribe. Support the channel. I'd love for you to do that. And I hopefully will see you very soon outdoors. Peace.